You're watching Oilers Nation Everyday with Tyler Yaremchuk. Your one-stop shop for all things Oilers.
Staring down the barrel of having to win 3 of 4 against the Dallas Stars.
Easy peasy.
Let's get into it with the lead. Giddy up. Game 4 of the Western Conference Final goes tonight in downtown Edmonton. Welcome into Oilers Nation Everyday, coming to you live, not just from the Sports Closet studio, sportscloset.ca. There is a location out where we are in beautiful Sherwood Park. We are live from Sherwood Ford, the Giant, for another Giant game day edition of the show. Always good to be back in the showroom. Everyone here, everyone who walks by just keeps going, big win tonight. We need a big win tonight. Boys need to show up tonight. Everyone here is fired up. I'm sure everyone over in the Oilers Nation YouTube is nice and fired up as well. The question is, are the two of you fired up?
I'm also hearing a lot of rumblings of, can we get more than 20 minutes tonight? I had a long conversation in the parking lot with a fine gentleman about it.
What was your question? Am I fired up for the night?
Yeah, that was my
I
question.
am an eager beaver for this game to get going.
I feel it.
I think people are really down on this team for obvious reasons, but boy, oh boy, how many times have we been here before and they've come back and just won?
There's a lot of reasons to be down. And this is where, and I'm trying to articulate my thought here, but this is where, take all facts and stats and throw them in the shredder. Because it's about being a fan right now, and it's about trying to will your team to the promised land. And that's all we can do as fans. Yeah, we're going to break it down, and we're going to talk about these things. Some good, maybe more bad. But we're here to break it down and try to channel this into excitement.
Yes.
Because we believe, because that's what we do.
Because hope will never die.
Hope will never die. I'm wearing my Play La Bamba orange. This is like Tiger on Sunday. We're coming.
I love
We're
it.
slaying the double dragon.
Nationgear.ca if you want to look just as fresh as Jay in that nice orange Play La Bamba sweater, or maybe you want to get the Oil Up playoff hats that we got up on the site right now, nationgear.ca. There you go. There's a look at the Oil Up collection, available in 3 colors. Maybe tomorrow, I think maybe we'll do another edition of Liam's game, maybe, or maybe I'll save that for Friday.
Whatever you want.
Friday's the game day. I could participate in Liam's game.
But
you and I are.
We're gonna go tournament. Oh my god! Of course.
I know.
Yeah, it's Liam's show on Friday.
I have so many tricks up my sleeve. I might bring in a brass band or something like that for the show.
Whatever it takes. Whatever it
A
takes.
mariachi band, maybe.
That would be pretty funny for the lead. Get him to play La Bamba.
What's my budget?
$5.
Perfect. I'll have a coffee.
Sherbucks.
Hey, Sherbucks. Absolutely delicious. Best part about being there, one of the great parts about being at Sherwood Ford, the Giant, they even gave me a cool little cup.
You know what I did? I did half vanilla steamer, half coffee.
You can do half and half?
I made a mistake by selecting the vanilla steamer and then realized I could stop it halfway through, fill it up with coffee.
Wow.
Sherbucks at Sherwood Ford. Come check it out.
Neat little trick.
One of the many great parts about making Sherwood Ford the Giant your next dealership. All right, let's get into things today. Let's start with, I think we got to start with the lineup report, actually. We're going to be joined by Carter Hutton in a little bit. We're going to be joined by Jason Demers. So there's 2 former NHLers coming up on the show. Hutz will be in about 15, Demers at the top of the hour. But let's get into our lineup report. It is brought to you by Wendy's. Wendy's only ever uses fresh, never frozen Canadian beef in all of their burgers, whether it's a JBC, whether it's a Dave Single, whether it's a Baconator. You better believe that beef has never seen the inside of a freezer. Download the Wendy's app today and get in on the latest deals. Boys, do we ever have a lineup report to get to? Kris Knoblauch making a handful of rather significant changes, or at least is expected to be making a handful of pretty significant changes. If you kind of read the tea leaves, of course, Knoblauch not coming out to the media and saying much of anything, but usually the players who stay out late at morning skate, getting in extra work, those are the guys who are not playing in the game that night. So if you look into that, it's Sam Carrick, it's Warren Foegele, and it is Vincent Descharnais coming out of the lineup for the Edmonton Oilers. As you see in this tweet from Ryan McLeod, it is Ryan McLeod, Corey Perry, and Philip Broberg coming back into the lineup. 3 guys who have all had absences from this Oilers lineup, ranging relatively different time spans, I think you could say. Corey Perry has not played since Game 5 against the Vancouver Canucks. He has not registered a point in 10 playoff games for the Edmonton Oilers. Philip Broberg has not appeared in the game since the regular season finale against the Colorado Avalanche, but he is riding a 2-game point streak. He picked up assists in the
Really?
games against Arizona and Colorado, logged north of 16 minutes in each of those games as well. But Broberg has not played since April 18th. We are talking about north of 40 days since Philip Broberg has seen game action. Ryan McLeod, he was out of the lineup for 1 game, and it was last game, game 3 against the Stars. So the Oilers are rolling back. Let's try to break this down kind of point by point here. Let's start with Broberg for Descharnais. Is this the right call? Is Descharnais the deserving defenseman to come out? Is sticking with 12 and 6 the right move? Or should you maybe have leaned towards the 11 and 7 approach?
I kind of like the 11 and 7 just because it's
So
that
did I.
flexibility and insurance. Like Vinny's played, obviously he's had some hiccups, but he's been solid. So I'm interested to see. Like you'll never know what his line of thinking was on the switch, but I guess like we're talking about, and as you can see with the changes minus Corey Perry adding speed and strong skating into this, maybe that's where we're seeing some issues. It's not that I can't wrap my head around in the sense of like I don't get why he's doing it. It's just I still can't understand it.
I think with Broberg, and those last 2 games gave me a bit more confidence in him. I know there were different circumstances. He's playing, what did you say, 16 minutes in both, north of 16 in both. Like, he's not going to do that tonight. But the skating really gives me some encouragement for what he's able to do. I think he's come into the lineup with a lot of confidence. I am not surprised it was Vinny. I think everyone would have thought Ceci would have been the guy, but also seems obvious why. Like, Vinny's skating is the reason why he's not in the lineup, but Cody Ceci is, because like it or not, Ceci's a better skater than Descharnais.
Yeah, he can move it around.
He can move it. So I'm interested now, though, what happens on the penalty kill, because obviously Vinny was a big part of that. The Oilers now only have 2 right-handed defensemen on there. So, like, do you put Ekholm out there a bit more? And then, you probably Ceci, Nurse, Kulak, Ekholm is probably the 4.
And like that's where Descharnais, like he's been part of a really good PK team.
Yeah.
So how much disruption does that cause?
I don't think a lot.
I was going to say with that too, they've changed a lot in the forward group with the penalty kill as well, and it hasn't disrupted too much. So, I mean, it's not like Broberg's going to play on the penalty kill, I would assume. But one thing I just hope doesn't happen tonight: could not play Nurse and Ceci together. But it just seems to be lining up so much in that way. But I like my idea still.
What's your idea?
Kulak and Nurse. And then you have your Broberg and Ceci as your third pairing, and you just play them when you can. Give them offensive zone and no D. A couple of neutral zone, whatever. See it, feel it out. But like we said it yesterday, the Dallas Stars third pairing isn't good either.
No.
Suter and Petrovic. So you should be okay if you can do that. And Kulak, I think, can allow Nurse to play to his strengths, which is skating. Nurse needs to skate.
Yes.
And I think once he can start skating and getting his confidence back, which he clearly just doesn't have right now, we'll see that physicality come back in a bit more in Nurse's game. Because we all know Nurse is a good player. 9.25, whatever. It doesn't matter.
We have to move past it. The deal is locked in.
Yes.
It's there. It's a constant.
We just need him to be good. Not even great. Just be good.
Be Daryl.
Player. Yeah.
Be Daryl.
Yeah,
gotta be Daryl.
I know you guys always say like, "Oh, be simple, Daryl." I actually disagree with that. Like, I don't think that's when his game is at his best. Like, Darnell Nurse is at his best when he's pushing the pace out there, when he's jumping up in the rush, when he's sure about his decisions. Like, part of the problem I had with Nurse last game was that there were way too many moments where he was doing the whole, like, the puck slowly coming to the blue line, and it's maybe like a 50-50, 60-40 play, and he's taking the one step in, and then he's like, nope, and he's back, and then he's flat-footed.
He's taking one step out, and then one step in. And then turn it all about, right? That's what I
well, then he gets turned all about because Dallas comes
someone,
back with
someone does in the hokey pokey.
Everyone's doing the hokey pokey.
But that's my problem with Nurse. Like, again, yeah, sure. Would you like him to just go out there and not be noticeable and whatever? But that's not what makes him Darnell Nurse. What makes him Darnell Nurse is his ability to make plays, smart plays at the offensive blue line, decent defending off the rush, not moving the puck, transporting the puck with his feet. Like, these are the things that I think he does well when his game's at his best. I think when he's trying to be a shutdown guy covering up for Cody Ceci mistakes, that's where he loses his game and his, his identity a little bit as a defenseman. So I agree with you 100%. Putting him with Brett Kulak tonight is the best thing to do. Kulak can be the guy covering up for Darnell Nurse's not mistakes, but risks that I want to see him take.
There it is.
It's funny because thinking about it, I want Nurse to have the confidence Ceci has going into the offensive zone sometimes.
Which he's always jumping up there, and it makes no sense because he's not good at it.
Not good at it, but I want
But he does
Nurse. He does it anyway. And, you know, we laugh that, like, he missed that open net against LA. I think it was game 1, game 2, whatever it was. Like, he had the 2-on-1 with Leon, but, like, he's there to make those plays, and I want Daryl to now do that.
Yeah. Like, think about the amount of times during the regular season that you'd see Darnell Nurse jump up in the rush on a penalty kill. Like, never mind 5-on-5. Like, he gets in the mix all the time, right? And again, you don't want to see him make dumb mistakes, but
well, if there's one thing we learned about that last game, which we are all very annoyed with, is that we stopped skating in the second.
Yep.
And obviously we're addressing some lineup changes to bring in some skating. So maybe this is let Daryl fly.
Yeah.
Find your wings, bud. Have a Red Bull.
All right. Couple more things to quickly get to here on the show. Dayton in with this one. Not sure this is what Vinny thought they meant by birthday bump. Yeah, happy birthday, Vinny. You're sitting
No
up.
way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's tough. But hey,
That's
it's the
a tough
business.
That's a tough one.
Corey Perry got scratched the day after his birthday.
Don't be
mercy.
born during the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
Tough.
Be a February baby.
I love you, Vin. I love you, Vin, though.
All right, let's get into the forward decisions now. Hurton Albertan said Perry and McLeod in is questionable. Jay, what do you make about both those guys getting the returns to the lineup?
I'm just hoping that maybe Perry was like, and I know he's had a rough playoffs, and I know he hasn't skated the entire playoffs, but maybe this Vancouver thing, maybe he was one that kind of fell down with a sickness as well, and him and Nobby had a good chat, and Perry's like got the fire in him, like telling Nobby like I've got it. And so maybe I'm being wishful, and I'm only going to be wishful and from now until the end of our run. So Perry is feeling the fire. That is why he's in. Why is McLeod in? Because he brings speed. Because now he's learned an important lesson in terms of maybe thinking about the playoff side of the game, not going around and trying to take people's heads off, but just getting into the mix. And maybe he's really learned that lesson. That is something Nobby needs from him to be able to contribute, because we know one thing about Ryan McLeod. He fast. He bring that speed. And clearly this is the direction that Coach Knoblauch wants to go, is obviously bringing more skating because maybe he thinks that was missing after the last couple games. So that is, that's my take. I'm going to say I love both moves because I'm no longer critical.
Should make for a good show.
Actually, all three moves.
Liam, are you going to be critical of either one of these two? And also on the flip side, because I'm surprised you're not critical of Sam Carrot coming out.
You know what? Maybe there's something we don't see about Sam. I love Sam, but to quote my friend to the right here, your left, Tyler, the upside of McLeod is much higher ceiling. So maybe we can get some offense from a guy that's got a little slap on the wrist, feeling a little shame, got a little guilt in him. So maybe we'll see a different version of Ryan McLeod tonight.
I wonder if Perry was brought in to be a bit of like a bench presence. When you're in those moments like they were in game 3 where they're getting absolutely buried, maybe, I don't know, he says something that can help the guys out. I know it's like a very minor thing, but like maybe that's what they're looking for from Perry, because I find it very interesting that they're bringing in the other two guys to add speed and then taking out Fogle and putting in Perry, who can barely move.
But let's call it's a factor move. Who can be a factor between Fogle and Perry? Perry can still be a factor, whatever it is. Like maybe our net front's been weak. Maybe we got to go make Ottinger's life hell. Like he can go and do that. The one thing I will say, because I'm staying as positive as I can, is it's been disappointing in this series versus like the Florida Rangers series. Like this is patty cake.
Yeah.
We're playing patty cake against each other. While like that is a legitimate war, which the counter argument is like, great, fight it out, get beat the shit out of each other, and like, and then we'll find that style, if when we move on. So Perry will bring a lot of those elements there, and maybe he can also drag the team into the fight. Not saying like physically fight, but just like it's like our controller has become unplugged in a few moments in that game, key moments for long stretches of time.
Mm-hmm.
And we did that in game 2 and we did that in game 3. And like that's what the most frustrating thing about all this is like both those games easily could have gone the Oilers' way. And then sure, maybe game 2, maybe not as much, but game 3 most definitely.
Yeah.
And like that's annoying. So that's why we also can't lose belief or hope in this team because they've been in every game. They've been in every game.
Yeah.
But I think people have forgot about that.
I know.
Like that game 2.
So I'm drinking my cup of Kool-Aid over here.
Mm-hmm. People made it seem like game 2, the Oilers had no chance of being in there.
Yeah.
But they were right there until the end, until a mistake happened. And then Dallas capitalized. And Jake Onger played really well. I think his expected goals were like 3.5 or something like that. The Oilers had great chance in that game. I think one thing that's interesting, this is looking far ahead. How is Fogle going to get back in the lineup? And I know
if they win, he won't, and that's life.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting because like McLeod, after one game, found his way back in, and the easy move was there to make. And now,
but if they would have won, he wouldn't have.
Well,
I'm not.
Knoblauch has shown he doesn't mess with winning lineups.
Yeah,
no, 100%. All right. Okay, we're live at Sherwood Ford the Giant for Sherwood Ford Giant game day. I know we have promised the people 2 former NHLers today, so let's get out to the Star Mechanical guest line, Edmonton's #1 plumbing and heating company. You can find out more about everything they do with residential, commercial, or 24/7 emergency service by visiting them online at starmechanical.ca. Jason Demers, the former NHLer turned NHL Network analyst, joins us on the show for his weekly appearance. And yeah, look, he's got the eyebrows moving around. You fired up for this hockey game tonight, Jay?
We better be. We better play more than just 20 minutes of good hockey because be going home early. That's for sure. But yeah, I'm feeling good. I think a good response tonight.
Yeah, and I think it will be too. This is an Oilers team. I mean, that's the first time all playoffs they've lost back-to-back games. I think they're going to bounce back really well. But I want to circle back to game 3 before we look ahead a little bit. And I asked Luke Gazdick this question yesterday. I'm curious for your perspective on it. Obviously, the defining point of game 3 was that 12-minute stretch coming out of the second period where the Stars just hammered the Oilers. Where are you at in the magical meter of the Oilers blew it, the Stars just pushed it and became too much to handle? Who are you giving more of the credit to, I guess, here? Was it the Oilers blowing it, or should we be giving the Stars more love?
Well, they've proven it in every first period of this series that they can outskate and outplay the Dallas Stars when they're going. And when they're playing a good, solid defensive structure, the D are getting up. They're not backing off. And it just happened last 2 games. They let off the gas, and Dallas doesn't need much to get going. So, and I thought the scary thing is Robertson's been cold all playoffs, and if that sparks him, he's a guy you don't want to let get hot. You don't want to let get hot who hasn't been hot. So, I just thought it was a lot of mental lapses defensively. The one where Vinny, it's right at the edge of the blue line. Jamie Benn's pressing on him. You got to make sure that gets out of the zone. I love the kid; he's been great all year, but he doesn't get it out. Jamie Benn rounds the net, and then everybody over back checks and forgets about the most important guy, which is Wyatt Johnston, who's just sitting on the back post. So that's an easy goal to let in. The Robertson one on his backhand where he shoots it and somehow gets a rebound, and there's 5 guys. We were talking about it on Stanley Cup Central. There's 5 guys in the slot, in the blue paint, just outside for the Oilers, and nobody could get a stick on that puck to clear it. That's more defensive lapse than anything. And then obviously that outside dot shot by Robertson is they don't clear the puck. There's a nice cycle play, and then Evan and Bush is right in front of Skinner's eyes. He's got to get out of the way, let Skinner see that and get aggressive because it is a nice shot, but Skinner should be able to get up a little bit higher. And I think Bush just being right in front of his eyes, it just affects him. And then we don't even need to talk about the 4th goal because I think that was partly on Skinner, but I do think it's a very wily play by Jason Robertson that not many guys could pull off. So a lot of mental mistakes that happened, and then it's hard to chase the game and play in tight games against Dallas. They're so comfortable in those positions. And the one thing is they'll just keep rolling their 4 lines. They don't care what happens. They stay within their structure. They get tighter as the game goes on. So after the Oilers have these good pushes in the first period, they have to stay disciplined. They can't do what they did against Vancouver and park the bus when they're up, because it doesn't work, because Dallas will find a way to just kind of clamp down on you. They have to stay aggressive, stay up. The D have to stay up. And I just thought they got a little bit complacent and defensively not marking their guys. And it wasn't just depth guys. It was the top guys. They weren't defending the right way. And as a D-core, I thought they really missed on a lot of opportunities. And they don't need many, especially the way Ottinger's playing, to kind of get a lead and hold it.
Yeah. I've got a random question. I don't even know if you can answer it, but I have to ask you because you played the game. And
I'll try.
And you've been on teams that have gone through the exact same thing. How can you play such an aggressive and shot of a cannon style of hockey in the first period and then move into the second period and be that flat? Like, what is going on to cause that? And like, and I know it's a weird loaded question, but like, you've experienced this. Like, what's the, how does the tide change so drastically?
Well, it's to a man, it's mentally, it's on everybody. It's not just on the players. The coaching staff needs to make sure that they're identifying who's going in those first periods, and then also in the second, who's laying their foot off the gas and adjusting accordingly. I think Knoblauch, and he's been, all the credit to him, he's been masterful all playoffs, but I feel like he might be overthinking it at times in this round against Dallas now that it's ramped up, and trying to get certain matchups. And I think he's just got to just roll after the first period, stay with it, and make sure that if guys aren't going in the second, listen, you can't wait around in this playoff series. If you're not coming out hard in the second, you just can't go. And we're going to roll with the guys that are going, and then you'll get chances to get back in. But it's also internally, like in the room, guys, they're feeling good after the first. You have to make sure that you're locked in. You should immediately go to 0-0 in your head. You got to win that next period, because Dallas is one of those teams that, like, they can score in bunches. They've proven it. They're resilient. They're never out of a fight, no matter what, and they don't panic. So you can see a little bit of panic creep into the game of Edmonton, and none in the side of Dallas. So it's just telling guys when you get in the room, listen, take a deep breath, reset. We had a great period, but now we got to get back on our horse, and we got to make sure we're on our toes, because they've had, obviously Ottinger in game 2 was incredible and kept them in there in the first, but they got to him in the first period of last game. They just they had him down, and they just needed to keep him down. And I thought they just let their game slip defensively, and that typically their game slips defensively when the D aren't breaking the puck out clean enough and getting it out of the zone, because everybody just starts sitting back, and it snowballs, man. And the crazy thing about momentum in the NHL, it's such a fickle thing, but bad shifts are contagious. I was once told by a coach that was much smarter than me. He just said every bad shift and bad habits are contagious on a team. When one guy does it, if the next line doesn't address it and say we need a simple shift, they then catch a cold, and then it goes to the third and fourth line, and then everybody's playing the wrong way. You have to recognize it early, and as a line, you have to look at each other or as a D-core and go, we need to play so simple here to just break the cycle of turnovers, bad habits, and make sure that we either go out, get a big hit, get a big shot on net, or get a great big defensive play to kind of spark everybody and reset them, because it's just contagious, and you end up catching a cold, and it's happened the last 2 games for the Oilers.
So on the blue line, you mentioned that almost every goal, if you go watch the replay, 20 seconds, and that 20 seconds before the goal scored, the Oilers had a chance to get the puck out. So to address that, what do? Take out probably your worst puck mover and puck transporter in Vinny, and you put in Philip Broberg, a guy who can move the puck pretty well, but he hasn't played in 40-some odd days, and you're throwing him into a Stanley Cup final game. Did you ever have anything like that in your career, where maybe not you, but like you had that your partner, someone else on the blue line, like hadn't played in 2 months, and they get thrown into the playoffs? And maybe what's that like in the room? Does it maybe like jolt everyone and be like, all right, like we got to help this guy out a little bit and all that?
Well, it's opportunity, right? So as to Broberg's point, listen, you've grinded the last 2 years in this organization and possibly didn't have a fair shake because of contracts and how it looks up, and you're the odd man out at being a lefty on that left side. And Edmonton's really, unfortunately, I think they're loyal to a lot of their vets more than they need to be, certain guys. So, but he's got an opportunity. So if I'm him, seize it. Listen, you probably have complained and been upset all year and wanted a chance. You're getting it. Obviously, it's not the best timing in terms of it's high stakes, but this is a moment where he could basically just insert himself into the lineup and guarantee himself a spot next year. So for him, it's going to be that. For the players in the room, I think you got to know, Vinny's played great all year. And I thought it's not all his fault getting pulled out. I don't think it's just him. I think there's the decor as a whole had a really bad game on game 3 and from the second period on. So, but he's the odd man out for Broby. Broby just needs to move the puck, trust his skating, and you can't be scared of the moment. This is a team that a guy like him can thrive against and play well against because he's got a good stick and he's got to make sure he's got good gaps. Don't back up and don't be afraid. I think they're going to play him. He's not coming to like an 11-7 situation. He's going to play 15 minutes. Make sure you own up to it. And obviously just be good in your own end. The better you are defensively, you're going to get more opportunities and gain more trust from the coach. So make sure you're good there and just trust his strengths. So he's got a lot of them, to your point. He's just got to get out of his own way. So, and as if you're Kulak, you're probably, fired up to help him out. There's going to be a lot of communication between both of them, I'm sure. Kulak's going to kind of give him a lay of the land in terms of what he's seeing out there is what I would have do. And just tell him, hey, let's keep it simple early. But if I'm Kulak, I'm looking at Broby going, when you can go. And I'll cover for you early on. If I have to play a 2-on-1 or 2, I can do it. But make sure you're just going. If you can jump in the offense, go just to get yourself into the game and get yourself engaged.
Darnell Nurse is arguably the most popular man in Edmonton right now.
Well, not for a
I was going to say for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
What does Nurse need to do to get his game back on track here and be not? We said it before. We don't even need him to be the $9 million defenseman. We just need him to be good.
Yeah, he just needs to. Man, it's tough because I never like coming on and just ragging on somebody. I do love what Connor McDavid did in the media. I think that's a true leader, taking that question for whoever asked it and making sure he addressed it. But also putting the onus on Darnell to we need a big game out of him. Listen, if he has a bad game, they're probably going to lose. Unfortunately, they just don't have let's say a D depth that other teams might have. They need him to be great defensively. I know his plus minus it's a funny stat, but still being minus 12 or 13 when, only you and Fogle are in the double digits, it's not a great look. He needs to kind of, I just see a little bit of, like I said, complacency, at the blue line. He's a little bit not playing his game. I don't know if he's trying to play too simple, but Darnell is good when he's jumping in the rush. I do think he can do that when he's doing that smartly, and he just needs to play physical. He's a big guy. He's so strong. I did a ton of one-on-one battles with him in training camp. He is an absolute beast when he wants to be. So just go be mean a little bit. Go rough up. He's probably going to get Robertson. He's going to get those guys again. Listen, Robertson is soft as marshmallow candy of whatever. You could push him out. He's not, everything I've heard about him from guys, he's a really highly competitive guy, but he's weighs $160, $170. If I'm him and I'm Nursey, I'm targeting him every shift I'm on the ice. Make it, I heard you guys talk about it before that it's patty cake out there. You won't necessarily push them out of the series because they are very resilient, but there's a lot of guys on that forward group that you should be running over every chance you get and making it tough for them. Vegas did it, took him to 7, but, I thought Vegas really beat him up good, and then Colorado kind of let him off the hook and allowed them to get out of that series and recover. Like they got some banged up guys up front there. If I'm Nursey, I'm targeting him every shift, get myself in the game, hit him. If Jamie Benn comes after me, well, listen, fight him, take him out of the game. He's been their best player. He's been their catalyst. Got to find a way to disrupt him because he's causing havoc all over the ice, and he's one of those guys that can take over a game. So if I'm Nursey, that's my job going in. It's just play as physical as possible, staying within myself. And if I have a chance to kind of hurt some of their smaller guys, I'm taking a run at it. And if Jamie Benn comes out and you wake him up, well, there's nothing wrong with fighting him. He can fight him and go into the box. And now you just neutralize probably their biggest offensive catalyst right now.
When we were walking out of the arena in Dallas, we had a real mouthy Stars fan who was yelling at us, being like, best road team in the NHL. We're winning the next 2. And he was really giving it to us. But you look into the numbers, they are 4-5 at home in the playoffs and
6-1
on the road. I love the film breakdowns that you've been doing on NHL Network. So can you break down why the Dallas Stars are so unbeatable on the road?
Well, you've been watching those. I appreciate that.
I was watching from the airport in Vancouver. I was having a couple beers and you were on the TV.
Which one were you watching? Which breakdown was it doing?
That one you were focusing on Panthers Rangers, though.
Oh, yeah, just the mistakes.
Yeah.
Listen, when you got a guy like Pete DeBoer who's so calm, and I've talked about this with Knoblauch as well. Knoblauch has been, for the most part, very calm, and that's why this Edmonton team has been a different animal than recent years. It starts behind you, and DeBoer is so calm. He keeps rolling his 4 lines. If you look at the numbers, they trust their depth, just like Edmonton trusted their depth. And to be honest, like, you look at this series, and, they're down 2-1. Dallas is 6-1 on the road, but they've been in every game they've played. And it's more on Edmonton than it is on Dallas, the reason they're down. Like, Edmonton's taking the foot off the gas. They've shown they can dominate them, but then what happens is you have to know with Dallas that they're never going to change their game, and they're going to keep playing the same exact way. So if you think you got to beat 2-0, you just have to keep going. You can't stop because they just wait, and they're very good at stretching the zone. They always have a guy that blows the zone, and then they're essentially finding him and getting separation from that defenseman on the Oilers. It's happened a ton. That's how they're generating offense. And then their second and third wave is slow. That's how they kind of get you, because they're good skating teams. So whoever's that D-man that's following out with that forward that's pushing out of the zone, he needs to be on top of them and make sure that puck's either turned over. And that's a scary part, because you're all by yourself in the neutral zone. And you really have to make sure that you don't give that guy any separation. And then conversely, they're good when they're getting on the forecheck. They have to get onto those Dallas defensemen and make sure that when they're moving the puck, that they're not getting by them, because they get you at the second and the third wave. So it seems like a lot, but it's really just starting with their forecheck through the neutral zone, and also their forecheck when they're starting out. It's all part of your forecheck. It's just, that's what's sparking their offense. Edmonton's good when they kind of slow it down on the forecheck. They get those big bodies in. And I just think the first period, all those goals Oilers scored was off the forecheck. They're getting bodies, they're putting them into the glass and then cycling pucks. And then what happened is they've lost their forecheck a little bit. Dallas was able to spread the zone out and spread out the neutral zone, so push back that Oilers defenseman. They got to make sure that Oilers defenseman doesn't get beat by that one guy. He doesn't allow that stretch pass. Even if you allow it to get tipped into Skinner, that's fine. But don't allow it to stay in the neutral zone and allow that guy to make a play underneath, because that's when you get in a lot of trouble. And that's what's kind of been happening with them. And then obviously, listen, you said it and I said it. When you have a chance to get the puck out of the zone on this team, you got to get it out. It's just the way it is, because they're coming and putting it right back down your throat. So
has anything through these, and this is the last one for you, has anything through these first 3 games changed your opinion on this series at all? Like, I'll be honest, I came into this being like, even if the Oilers play their best, Dallas might be able to beat them. And even though they're down 2-1, I'm now sitting here going, whoa, if the Oilers bring their A game, they can beat this Dallas team. And I know that's maybe a weird spot to kind of be in, considering, again, they blew the lead. They were terrible in the second period and all that. But I'm still sitting here, and I think you and I have had this conversation as well. this Stars team is beatable for the Oilers. If they
100%,
bring their A game, they can
100%.
beat them, right? I'm not crazy, am I?
No, you are crazy, but not for this point. You're good, but you're good on this. No, listen, they can do it. I think Skinner's played, other than that one goal, I thought he's played really well. Listen, I can give him his flowers. I thought he's played really well. He's it's just, listen, Ottinger's been that much better. And Ottinger is absolutely insane on the road. You have to find a way to get to him. And you saw how they get to him in front of the net, make it real ugly. If Connor can get to the net and out battle guys, there's not a guy in that fucking locker room that should be like, well, we can't get to the net also. Like Connor also scored a goal he doesn't typically score, and he won that battle against Seguin. You can push these guys around. You're bigger than them, so you have to get to the net and make it ugly, make them defend you, and get pucks to the net. And it's a possibility. Listen, they can. I think this series is going 7. I'm still confident in that. I think game 7 will be a toss-up, but I do think they can get to 7. And I actually was more optimistic. I was less optimistic at the start of the series. I honestly thought Dallas was going to walk over them, and it hasn't been the case. I just think Edmonton has stopped playing in certain points. So I expect a big game from them tonight. I think they do bounce back. It's 2-2, and then from there it gets real interesting. So, but they just got to kind of get. And the other thing they need to get going is I don't think I would ever be saying this in my life, but their power play.
Oh, 1 for their last 12. What are we doing?
1 for their last 15 in their last 6 games or something like that. I was counting, and it's the thing is too is they're not getting to their sets. They are getting some looks, but obviously Ottinger's been so good making saves. I mean, he made a huge save in the first, could have been 3-0 on Leon. So they just need to keep at it, but they need to draw more penalties, and draw more penalties is playing the way Connor did on his goal and the way Hyman did on his. Just get to the net, make them hook and grab you, sit inside of there, make them push you maybe into Ottinger, draw a penalty, but they need to make it uglier that like when they was in Vancouver. Like, it's weird. I heard you say before they're playing patty cake. I mean, you're not wrong, but that's the way Dallas kind of gets you in, like, because their decor is very quick and they move the puck fast. But when you're net front, you got to try to get under these guys' skin. You got to get inside of them. You got to make it ugly. Like, they got to basically envision that all those D are Zadorov, and then they'll play great. Like, Kaner's got to get in on these guys and make sure he's roughing them up like they did Quinn Hughes. And I just feel like they're giving him too much respect, because I do think in the first periods they think they're better than them, and I do think they believe in that room they can beat Dallas. But you know, when the belief gets in a little bit of arrogance, they get in trouble. So they need to just keep their foot on the gas and don't let them get up.
And this is the Perry factor.
Yeah, and Corey Perry draws back in today. So
I don't know how I feel about that, because I love his pedigree and what he's done. I don't know if he can move the way, and you know, that's a lot of foot speed you're losing, because Sam Carrick's not the fastest, but I mean, Perry can't move at all right now, and especially if you're playing him 8 minutes a night. So hopefully they play him a little bit more, let him get into it. I do like McLeod coming back in. I think, listen, he doesn't have any points, but he's been fantastic on the PK, and even generating chances and generating momentum off the PK. He's worked well with Fogle, but Fogle's the odd man out, goes out now. That's kind of one of those things where it's Fogle or McLeod. So I think McLeod has a big game. You know, if he's one of those guys, those X factors, if he can get on the score sheet, I think they win, and hopefully him with Henrique, he'll give Henrique some speed. And I liked what I saw from Henrique last game, but you know, him and Perry in the lineup, it's not the fastest bottom 6. So, you know, I wasn't 100% on board with putting Perry in, but listen, Knoblauch's made some great adjustments in this playoff, so kind of got to trust it and see if it works out.
All right, Jason, appreciate your time as always, man. Hopefully when we talk again early next week, this series is still rolling.
What's that car back there? What are we looking at?
That's one of the new Ford Mustangs.
What's
Jason.
that MSRP on that thing? What we got there?
I can't read from that far away, so I'll have to text you that one later.
Sweet. Might have to buy that on the side, boys. Come on now.
Get up to E-Town, yeah. All right,
go.
thanks, Jason.
See you, boys. Have a good one, all right?
See ya.
Former NHLer Jason Demers on the Star Mechanical guest line. We got a quick pivot, boys. We got to get into a playoff report for our friends at Boston Pizza. Team up for the win with Boston Pizza. There is one Canadian team left standing in the playoffs. It is the Edmonton Oilers. So what would it take for the country to get on the bandwagon with us? You got to ask them. You got to ask them yourself. Team up for the win with Boston Pizza. Let's get to our second former NHLer of the day. Our colleague Carter Hutton joins us. Hutz, how you doing? What's going on?
I'm doing well. I love you at the Ford dealership. I'm a F-150 guy, so I don't know what the mayor's is talking about that car for. This is we're a truck guys. Come on.
Is Demers still in the waiting room? No, he's gone. Yeah, okay, so I can say this. Yeah, he's soft. He's not an F-150. Demers is rocking around with his eyebrows nicely done and his cute little pea coats and whatnot. Come on, yeah, F-150 guys.
Unbelievable.
And Brock.
Yeah, okay, and Brock.
There we go.
All right, I want to talk a little bit of goaltending with you, and I want to do like a little film breakdown here on the fourth Dallas goal. AB, we can run the clip and play it a few times here, Carter, but a lot of people were getting on Stuart Skinner for this one. Is this fourth goal all on the goaltending? Is it more on the defensive breakdown? Is this truly a weak goal from Stuart Skinner? When the clip loads, what do you make of that play and Robertson banking it in off him?
Honestly, it's both sides of it to me. It's a play that can't go in. It's a goal from that angle where he is, but it's an educated play by Robertson. Goaltending and goal scoring is always a game of cat and mouse, and guys make adjustments. And this is something I dealt with later in my career. I remember gave up a goal very similar. Connor Garland scored it on me because I would go skate on post. And when you go skate on post, there's a little bit of a gap now. And these players understand that. So what Robertson's trying to do is as Stuart Skinner here goes skate on post, he waits to get below the goal line to create an angle where he can bank it off him. And Skinner's actually not in a bad spot when he has his blocker down on the ice. It's when he feels a little bit of his weight loss. As he gets around here, he starts to lift a little bit. And then you can see the puck just bank off the post and then off his pad and in. Where what we normally would do now, and most guys do, I played with a lot of younger goalies do it. They add like a 3 or 4 inch lace from their skate to their pad. And then what they do is they go on their toe bridge and the lace right on the post. Then what happens is the bridge of your pad, the toe, sits right on the post, and then that eliminates that opportunity. So, and the other good thing about that is when you hit on your lace, you can use that as your anchor point as you swivel in RVH. So this is honestly not a great goal I hate to be critical of it, but it is a very smart play by Jason Robertson and not a mistake by any means. He knows what he's doing. He's practiced this. We see this a lot when we talked about Zadorov scoring in the last earlier in the playoffs, where he would get down below the goal line and shoot just at the goalie's head, right? These guys understand. They work with their goalie coaches. They see trends. And this is literally Jason Robertson being a student of the game and just making a smart shot. But for Stuart Skinner, he needs to stay on that post. And when you are committed and you kind of are a little bit off balance, you don't have your post, the biggest thing he needs to do is just try to seal as quick as he can against that post.
Can you explain what the RVH is? Because Henrik Lundqvist also came out and said that, like, it's not good, and now we've seen it affect Skinner twice now, I think. Yeah. So what exactly does that mean? Please explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old.
Okay, yeah. So I don't, for lack of a better name, I guess because we're goalies, we couldn't come up with anything very creative. So how we used to play it would be called a VH, where your one pad is vertical on the post and your other pad is horizontal across the goal line. And so what would happen is when you get in that position, you're really locked in. So what changed was we became the RVH, which is the reverse VH. So what you're seeing is the horizontal leg would be on the post, and then your other leg, your anchor leg that would be in the middle of the net, would be up. So it's a really good tool to have for changing angles, for making adjustment, especially now when I talk about using the post as your anchor point, you can swivel and change your angle. So as a puck comes from below the goal line forward, we can make adjustments on that angle using the RVH. But what happens now is we drop into it too early at times, and players know that. So again, when I talk about the game of cat and mouse, where we start using RVH, so then players start to understand that when we drop into RVH, our head opens up. There's always going to be a little bit of hole that opens up. So what these guys do is as soon as they get to a point where goalies are going to drop into RVH, they shoot pucks there, not even looking at the net. So he's in RVH here. He's locked in where you can see his pad is horizontal and is where normally if he's on his toe bridge, he can use his, I'm pointing at the screen like you can see, but his skate that's in the middle of the net would be his anchor skate, and he can rotate that blade so he can get flat to the goal line or get back out to create depth. So that's the use of RVH. What Henrik Lundqvist, he went to the extreme in my opinion, right? Bad goals go in, but it also creates a lot of good in games. It's the timing of when we use it and where to use it. And I think sometimes it becomes a crutch for some goalies because we rely on it too much.
That's an excellent breakdown. That is
that
not
is-
yeah,
The
that
VH could have been used there.
That would have.
Yeah. The VA. Exactly.
VH
It's
saved
just,
the day there.
Yeah.
Do you not think, and what I know we're getting so technical, but like when he reaches out with his blocker to like go and try to poke him, like that also opens up that hole.
For sure. So the biggest thing, in my opinion, in those situations is then it becomes like almost a double block. So it'd be like the same idea. If the puck is coming at my chest and there's a tip threat, I'm not going to just reach my glove in front of my chest because I'm giving up space somewhere else in the net. So same idea. As soon as he drops his blocker, his pad behind it is already doing that job. So we would call that double blocking. Now you have a blocker and a pad in the way, where if the shape he's in right there, if he just sits his blocker in that little hole and then relies on driving that skate back to the post, he's going to be in better shape. So as soon as he starts to reach, Robertson has him right where he wants him. So, and you think about how easy it is for Jason Robertson to make that adjustment. And now he gets around him, and now he just plans the bank, right? That's an educated shot by him, but a mistake by Skinner, and obviously a costly one at that point in the game.
What have you made of Skinner as a whole in this series so far? Like, I think he's bounced back excellently. Even in that game the other night, I thought weak goal, mistake goal aside there, like he made some massive stops for him. Have you noticed anything in his game that's maybe allowed him to bounce back, or is it just as simple as he needed a reset last round?
You know, I think the reset helped. And even you look at the game in against LA where he gave up 5, he bounced back, won 3 straight after that. So he's been able to do that. And it's something that I feel like he's done a lot this year. It's been a bit of a roller coaster. At times he's been absolutely rock solid. Then all of a sudden the wheels come off. And the only thing I really noticed last game was he got a little frantic at times, where when I look at him in that Vancouver series, I had this conversation with my old man talking about Shelovs. He'd be like, well, he's so much smaller than Skinner. I'd be like, well, they're both 6'4", but the way they present themselves. And I thought in that series, he was so calm and simple, and he really shows like maturity. It's something that kind of comes. I feel like when I played in the NHL, you would play against a younger goalie and be like, man, he's making himself so small. And then all of a sudden you play against a veteran guy and you'd see them off the rink and they're not that big comparatively to myself, but they present themselves bigger. So when Stewart is at his best, in my opinion, he's calmer, he's poised, he's showing, he's managing his depth better. Where I feel like last game, a great example would be the Wyatt Johnson goal. He goes post to post, and again, he hits, we're in RVH, and he kind of mishits, and then he chases the puck out, and he's scrambling around, where he's a goalie that realistically should never leave the blue paint. He's so big, he should be a little more poised, but also in his defense, he made a lot of big timely saves, but you're in the Western Conference Finals. You have to make timely saves. You're not here if you're not making those saves. So I wouldn't really say I'm worried about him by any means. He just knows he has to be better. And with a team like, Edmonton in front of you, if you can keep it at 2 or 3, there's a good chance you're going to win hockey games.
900 goaltending.
Yeah,
That's all we need.
I think one thing that's not helping Skinner at the moment is the other goalies in the conference finals. Like, he's easily 4 of 4. Out of the 4. The other 3 are elite goalies. But how do you think he's stacked up against Ottinger? Because we spoke about it too. It's not like Ottinger's been perfect in this series by any means. I think he was good in game 2, but game 1 and 3, the Oilers got some easier goals on him.
The Hyman goal slid on the ice. Like, yeah, there was a couple there that weren't great.
Yeah,
But overall series save percentage.
And he gets better as the game goes on, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing too, is like how Ottinger throughout these playoffs has been good, like in thirds and in overtimes, and finding the ways to make those timely ones. Someone always used to say to me, as a goalie, it's like not how many saves you make, it's like when you make them. And I think that's been kind of key for Ottinger, where when you look at Skinner on the other end, giving up that 4th goal is a bit of a killer, where you could go back in those games, look at the Marchman save. He made the big save on Duchesne. There was a lot of big time saves he made, but at the same time, when those ones go in, they're kind of killers too. And I've been in those situations, whether it was me giving up or on the bench, part of a team, where when a bad goal goes in per se, it's almost just like deflating, right? You feel it throughout the rink. You feel it as a fan watching the game. Think how the players feel. You're giving it all, and a stinker goes in. It's hard to deal with. But I think for him, he's dealt with so much this year. There's more of a, experience and mental fortitude to deal with this moving forward. So it'll be a big matchup here tonight, and I look forward to him bouncing back.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. Dallas is an absolute hell of a road team. Just one more for you to go around the league a little bit. What have you made of Shesterkin versus Bobrovsky? Man, I mean, I saw a tweet from a Rangers fan that was like, boy, the Rangers, it's tied up in this series because of Igor and Fox and Igor and Trocheck and Igor. Like, it's all Shesterkin, man. He's been unreal.
Yeah, he's been electric in that series, and rightfully so. I think Florida has dominated from start to finish in those games, right? But that's the luxury of having a good goalie and a guy that can steal games, right? Is you could get by without, necessarily winning the 5-on-5 play or winning the analytics game by any means by having a hot goalie. And so I think last night was one where the Florida Panthers had to win. Those are one of those ones where I think if the Rangers go up 3-1, that is a team that is going to find a way to win one of the next 3 to close out that series. So Florida's been great. And I think for Bobrovsky, again, you look at the shots last night, even 40-23, Bobrovsky, again, is like those timely saves. So I feel like he's in a situation that Skinner's dealing with. He's not definitely given up a lot of quantity shots, right? Where you're not getting in a flow and getting a rhythm going, but the quality is high. When there is a chance, you need to make big saves. And for Shesterkin, it's a bit of both, right? I feel like they're giving up a lot of shots and they're giving up a lot of chances. And he's worth his weight in gold right now for the New York Rangers, but they're going to be in tough here. At least 2 or 3 are going to be at home if they want a chance to try to go to 7 here in this series.
And the Oilers are facing a similar spot, or they're in the exact same spot that the Florida Panthers were last night in that Eastern Conference final. So it's a big night for the Oilers. What do you think is going to happen this evening? You going to ride with the Oil?
I like the Oilers tonight. Honestly, I think there's like going to be some adjustments to make. Obviously, disappointing. I think coming out in that second period the way they did. I think adding Corey Perry. I know he doesn't add a lot of speed, but just the veteran leadership. I think that is something in the room where you look at the veterans on that team and you look at even Jamie Benn off the initial faceoff in the second period, it almost set the tone for the whole period. And something for me, a lot of games I was the backup, right? So these were times where you just had a 2-0 lead in the first period. You dominated. Your team needs to be aware that there's going to be a big pushback. And I think adding a guy like that and being aware of that at home here is going to be a big output tonight. So I like the Oilers here at home. I'm pretty pumped for this one.
Yeah, it should be an awesome hockey game. Decent start time for you out east as well, 8:30 Eastern. So not bad. Enjoy the hockey game tonight, and thanks for hopping on, man.
Hey, thanks for having me on as always.
So, yeah.
I've got a question. So I was giving full disclosure, Crawford a bath in the first intermission, and I missed the first 60 seconds.
Yeah.
So what was the Jamie Benn opening face-off?
Pushed it up off the draw, chipped it in, just fucking went and got it. Just did a real classic Jamie Benn kind of thing.
Power move.
Forward shit.
Power
you
move.
Okay. All right, there you go. That was a playoff report for our friends at Boston Pizza. Team up for the win. Excited to have BPs around as our partner for this playoff run. All right, got a couple more things we need to cross off on the show today. I do want to get to some comments in the YouTube chat, but first, let's get to some game notes for our friends at Douglas Mattress. You can sleep just as good as I've been sleeping the last couple nights. I've never been happier to be back at home on my Douglas mattress. You can get yours today by ordering online at douglas.ca/Oilersnation. Support a locally owned and operated Edmonton company, and these mattresses are handcrafted in Canada, ensuring the highest quality materials and fastest delivery to you. And yes, get that mattress and free bedding bundle right now. douglas.ca/Oilers Nation. Here are a couple game notes for you guys. Also, shout out to Jason Greger, who's got the game notes up at Oilersnation.com. But how about the home and road splits for the Dallas Stars in these playoffs? I think we got a graphic up as well that kind of shows these two. But 6-1 on the road, 4-5 on home ice. And look at the goals. 4 per game. It drops by about 0.6 goals per game. The goals against per game drops by 1.1 goals per game. And the penalty kill. That's a big one. 61% at home, 92% on the road.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
It doesn't make any sense.
No.
But but anyways, it is the truth. These are real numbers. So that's what makes tonight so important. We got to make them 6-2 on the road tonight. And then we know we have 2 cracks against them at home.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like we keep talking about, they need to win 3 of the next 4, but they're losing at home often. So the advantage is
if you could
take
win tonight, then it's 2 of the next 3 for both teams.
Like
so.
I'm sitting here and I'm starting to get more and more optimistic as the show's gone on. As Demers kind of tells us, hey, they're the better team, and Hutz talks about the goaltending. I'm like, okay, like they got a shot here tonight, and if you win this one, there's doubt in Dallas's mind heading back to home ice in Game 5 because they were not even close to the better team in those first 6-7 periods and change on home ice when you consider OT as well. So, yeah, I think tonight you have a great chance to kind of just push a little bit of doubt into the back of Dallas's head as this series shifts back to Dallas. So it's a big opportunity. Yeah, I mean, the game notes for Greger, again, he talks about how good the Oilers were in that first period. Outshot them 10-3, outscored them 2-0. The Oilers also outshot Dallas 16-4 in the first period of Game 2, but were tied at 1. So there's been a
You can't slow down. Like
yeah,
Ottinger's, we're not going to win the goaltending battle. We're not.
No.
And so we just need Skinner to be 900, and we need to shell Ottinger.
Yeah. and maybe to wrap up this segment and a little bit of game notes, I wanted to get your guys' opinion on this, because I think it was, it was a little divisive isn't the right word, but Darnell Nurse's comments after practice today. Maybe before I get your guys' takes, we'll give the listeners a chance to take a peek. AB, let's roll the video. This is Darnell Nurse speaking with the media after morning skate.
What have you sort of seen from him and the time that he's been here, the work he's been putting in, being patient?
Yeah, really good player. He's ready.
Do you have confidence that he can, come?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Really good player.
What is it about his game, Darnell, that you think makes him ready?
Can skate, physical, can make plays.
Connor was talking about you don't necessarily want you back against the wall, but how the team has kind of responded to elimination games. Last series down 2-1 to Vancouver. What would you say about the team doing that when it is a difficult stretch?
We're good with our back against the wall.
Obviously, any team can play well at this time of year. When Dallas has a push like they did in the second period, what are just some of the keys to stopping it, a little sooner than the other game?
Playing hard. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Is that bad attitude, or is that fed up and ready to lock in?
The
latter.
I think it's fed up and ready to lock in.
Yeah.
The weird part is he kind of answers all the questions, just very short.
Yeah, very short.
He did answer them.
And he probably should have stayed longer. But anyways, that's just a guy that wants to. And this is what once again, like I'm only looking at things positive and being very wishful. Like guy that just wants to get on the ice and play this game.
Yeah, that's
he
kind of
wants to get on the ice and play this game and let that do the talking.
Yeah, like
that's the only like get in front of a camera and say whatever you want. It's not going to change anything. You gotta. He wants to go and prove himself, and that's just a guy that just doesn't want to hear the noise. He wants to focus on the game he has tonight. So that's why he did his part, so he doesn't get fined there. And now then he's going into the next room to kind of mentally prepare.
Yeah, like obviously, take it however you want, but he just needs to go out there and play. Like his game is so far away from where he needs to be right now, and it's very out of character from Nurse. I found that like he usually is well spoken. He's like one of the people in the community all the time. So I don't know, just let the guy play and prove himself. That's all he can do.
This is just he's ramping up. This is Daryl ramping up for a big game.
I keep thinking about when Evander Kane got demoted to the third line earlier in the year and then went out and fought Brendan Dillon against Winnipeg.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's what we'll kind of get from Nurse tonight. Obviously, we need more than whatever Kane played that night because he didn't play too much. But I wonder if we can see a bit of like, I'm pissed off and I'm going to do something about it. I hope so.
No, just be smart about it.
All right, I want to get into what you guys are saying about this in the chat, and then we'll move off of it. Our YouTube chat is brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers. You can get a custom ring built and delivered in less than 4 weeks through Charm and their Masterpiece program. Visit them online, charmdiamondcenters.com, or visit them at one of their more than 80 locations across the country through Charm and their sister brands. Here is what you're all saying about that. Sadistic Angel says he's frustrated with himself. I think that is obviously very fair. Maynard says not great optics, and I agree. You're making, and this is the problem I had with Evander Kane when he did this. You're already enough of the story. Don't do stuff like this and make yourself more of the story. Go out there and give your normal little, we're excited to get, you're making yourself more of the story. So I was critical of Kane for it, so I think I got to be critical of Nurse for it.
I mean, sure, for consistency you do, but like I think they're two different things.
That's fair too.
I don't mind it. Like,
I hope he plays that pissed off.
Yeah, I think he will.
He's firing himself up. Like he's got a chance. Like if Daryl's playing his game, he can be a factor.
Yeah.
And he's just looking within and just figuring out who he needs to be that factor. And the thing with Darnell Nurse is he's got all the tools.
Yep.
And so he's just got to make sure the toolkit is the right toolkit is being deployed.
Yeah. He just needs to find some offense. Like, I honestly think that would help him more than anything.
Interesting.
You look at minus 12 and plus minus, it tells some of the story, but
it's still
so vague.
If he was minus 3, you'd be like, oh, whatever. Like, but like minus 12 is damning. It's damning.
It
like
is.
You can't make a caveat to kind of diminish that. Like, if it was -2, -3, sure, you could use that argument. It's -12. Like,
I
it's
wonder how many goals he's been on the ice for the Oilers, not against the Oilers. 'Cause I think against it's 18.
Yeah, I'd have to
So
go.
I guess that would be
quick
6.
math 6.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Damn
there you
it.
go. All right, a couple more. Matthew was in. He said he's been shit on for a day. He's mad at himself, wants to play better, give him a break. I think that's
Yeah.
a totally fair take
100%.
to have in this one. Double A, he's tired of being the whipping boy. And yeah, I think that's, again, totally a fair thing. Totally a fair thing to say. I just want him to play like he's tired of being the whipping
Remember,
boy. Like,
2 years ago, he played with no groin.
yeah.
And
played pretty well.
So there's a warrior within him, and just let him figure it out.
Mhm.
He doesn't have much time, but let him go through his process to figure it out and show us tonight.
Yeah.
If we don't see it tonight, then that's a different discussion.
What do you make of him appearing on Frank Saravalli's first trade targets board of the summer? I really don't want to have too much of an in-depth conversation about it in the middle of a playoff run, but
that is the beginning and the end of that discussion right now.
comes in at 19, right in front of Trevor Zegras.
Again, still
AB,
on the list.
you want to flip up to the top of this list here? Let's see. There you go. Mitch Marner, Linus Ullmark, Jacob Chikrin, Marty Necas, Nick Ehlers. I've always been a big Nick Ehlers guy.
Love Ehlers.
He just cannot stay healthy. UC Saros in at 6, Arthur Kaliev out in Los Angeles. Philip Gustafson was a surprising one to see, just because kind of felt like for a while he was the future of that Minnesota crease, but they apparently really want to give Jesper Wallstedt a chance to get NHL games in next year.
Interesting.
Yeah, JG Pajot at 9. I can't imagine a lot of teams are itching to take that contract. Jacob Markstrom, I like this one from Frank. 1 Blues defenseman.
So what's that? Falk, Krug, and Leddy?
And Parayko.
Parayko as well. Okay.
Nurse for Parayko. Now we said we're not doing it. Riley Smith at 12, Morgan Frost at 13, David Savard at 14, and then the back half, or the back little bit, Capo Caco, Elvis Merzlikins, Andrew Mangiapane, Christian Dvorak, Darnell Nurse, and Trevor Zegras. I will say Frank usually expands this list. It'll probably be closer to about 50 names by the time we get to the draft, and I would say there will be I'll say 4 Oilers are on that list.
I'll say 2. 3, including Darryl, Ceci, and McLeod.
Ooh, I wasn't even going. I had Ceci. I have Nurse, Kane, Campbell, Ceci on the list.
Okay, I have 4. I have 5. Kane and Campbell also on my list.
Yeah, McLeod might be on there, and yeah. Dacky, no Carlson on there. Yeah, there was someone on Twitter doing a little Nurse for Carlson. Dubas loves his Sioux Greyhounds.
See, I don't 100% hate that, but the reason Carlson hasn't worked in Pittsburgh is because they're trying to run 2 defensemen on the power play.
Yeah.
And the Oilers just won't do that.
Yeah, they won't move Bush off that power play unit. No way. All right, that's enough of the trade talk. It's a Sherwood Ford Giant game day. We have time in the summer to do trade talk. We right now we want to get
kill
ready.
their summer content plan right there.
Yeah, there it goes.
Game 4 tonight down at Rogers Place, 6:30 broadcast start time between the Oilers and Stars. Why don't we get into things a little bit with our keys to victory for Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. It's just down the road from us, actually. Liam will be driving past it on his way home. Yes, you can see the roof from here. Good eye, Jay. Brought to you by Sherwood Power Sports and Marine, your one-stop shop for everything you need, from fishing rods and reels and tackle and boat accessories to motorcycle gear, water sports accessories, and even e-bikes. Find out more at Sherwood Power Sports and Marine.
Crawford is a very happy fishing rod customer of Sherwood Power Sports Marine.
Hell yeah. Jay, I know you're a big fisher as well.
Yeah, if we I hear there's an idea of doing a little nation fishing derby, and I'm saying I'm ready.
Giddy up. Sherwood Power Sports and Marine, keys to victory, gentlemen. They're your key to having a good summer. Liam, what do you got this evening?
Maybe the power play. That'd be nice if we could get one of those goals. Power play goal is a key to victory. I'll say that.
I feel like on the power play, and they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. They're figuring stuff out. But I feel like they've been too arrogant with some of their passes, in the sense of just not giving enough respect to Dallas to be able to intercept, and them just being so sure that pass is going to get through. And maybe just putting stuff on the ice when they could maybe put it in the air and just stuff like that. But that's just an observation I want to share.
You know, one thing we haven't seen from them on the power play yet is sometimes they'll do it where they just get a great chance within the first 5 seconds of it. Get it right off the draw, right to Hyman in front of something like that. We haven't seen that from them. We seem to want to set up immediately, but try and just give it a pop right away.
Pop and lock.
Pop and lock.
Can I tell you one thing that's been a problem with that? Leon
Yes.
Draisaitl's only won 30% of his faceoffs in the offensive zone.
Does that factor in him getting kicked out? Like, does he get a 0 if he gets kicked out of the
No,
dot?
that's when he stays in the dot.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's a low percentage.
Oh,
But I know, breaking news. But I thought BM made it good yesterday. That face-off percentage is like a bit more of a team one than an individual. But if
Still-
Leon's
but
struggling
still,
right there,
30% as an individual is
for sure. But like maybe the wingers need to go a little bit harder to get in. That's on Kane and Holloway as well to help him out. Because we watched the games, and I don't recall Draisaitl just getting like snapped back on every time. Like he goes up against Sagan a lot, who I think is the highest on. Well, I would assume the highest on Dallas if he's going up against him. But like, just go in and battle. Like lock it. Draisaitl's stronger than Tyler Sagan. If it's not working, maybe lock him up a bit and get Holloway or Kane to go in and get the puck. That's my key to victory. Draisaitl, stay in the dot, number one. Second, win it.
Win it, and you want to see a little bit more on the power play. Jay?
Oh, that's a good point. I forgot to bring this up. Sorry, Jay. Daryl put it in before. Now Ben Gleason just put it in. He does have that finger injury.
Ooh, that wasn't a full splint.
But he's wrapped.
It looked like
maybe
he could have
it's
grabbed a
painful.
hot pan.
You're really going back to this hot pan thing. though.
It's because he cooks vegetables at night when he's drunk
And
and
he
he
keeps
hurts his
touching the
hand
pan.
so much.
No,
That explains it.
I just don't
So
know
many
if it's a
blisters.
broken finger for him. He's still
But they're-
shooting the puck fine.
Yeah,
He's
but like
scored once,
it's
and he's not shooting it fine.
interesting that like someone who normally is good in the dot, especially in power plays,
Mhm.
is not like it's a plausible narrative. Can't just absolutely discount it.
It is a plausible narrative. Newfie Sniper says, I want to see Ryan McLeod channel his inner Todd Marchant tonight. Big breakaway goal.
Yeah, so my key to victory is just 60 minutes of hard hockey. Like we know when we bring our legs and we bring our forecheck, we know, and what the byproduct of that is shelling Ottinger
Mhm.
and then scoring on Ottinger. We can't slow down. And if we are slowing down, then don't slow down. Sorry. There's no slowing down. And this and the only way to do this, and I love the analogy of that Demers said, like bad habits are contagious.
Mm-hmm.
And if that one line is flat, that's where like who's the leader on the next line?
Yeah.
Who's the leader on the next line to say, no, we're not coming down. We're not and trying to keep that going. Like we have to be aware of that. So we cannot slow down. Like it's impossible to play 60 minutes of shot out of a cannon hockey, but you can't take 30 minutes off.
Correct.
Right. So if you do have those 5 minutes and it's becoming an issue, you've got to will yourself through it. Like, you know, the ultimate question they have to ask themselves within is like, do we want this? And if it's like the answer is yes, which we all know it is, well, then they have to sometimes you have to manufacture circumstances or will yourself out of a situation, as opposed to like just letting it happen and then all of a sudden blinking and going up 2-0 down 3-2. So 60 minutes, pedal to the floor, or at least foot on the pedal the whole 60 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. Jay is in just on the Draisaitl speculation. Maybe he burned it with his lighter.
That actually could be more plausible.
I don't get that. Like it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
We're not here to.
I think he's burning the edges of the tape, so like the tape doesn't come off.
So it like just sticks right.
He's got
to
some
it.
He's very particular.
Yeah,
I can see
It's
that.
a
maybe he just thinks it's intimidating as fuck.
It is.
He wants Dallas to look at the bench
spooks
and be
me.
like,
so maybe you should take that lighter and light it under some people's asses when he sees that they're going flat.
yeah, maybe.
Mhm.
My key to victory for tonight is going to be getting pucks through and making life difficult on Jake Ottinger. I ran these numbers past everybody yesterday, but the shot attempts in the first period were 25-13. The Oilers only turned 10 of those 25 shot attempts into actual shots on goal. In the game as a whole, they only turned 52 of those shot attempts into just 16 shots. To me, that says two things. You're holding on to the puck too long and allowing Dallas to get into the lanes. They're a very good shot blocking team. If you give them half a second, they're going to get in there. You need to be snapping pucks off quickly.
Crashing the net.
And what else that tells me is you're not crashing the net.
Crash the net.
If you're not getting second and third opportunities, that's why you only get 16 shots at 5-on-5 in a hockey game. That's why at all strengths you only got 31 and not 37, 38. Go to the net, get those rebound opportunities, make life difficult on Jake Oettinger. I know he's been good and he is a good goalie and he's great on the road and he's great in the third period and all this stuff we're pumping up Jake Oettinger about. But you haven't done a very good job of making his life difficult. And I think the Oilers need to recognize
it's a math
that here.
game. 10 more shots on net last game, and maybe we win.
We talked about it in games 1 and 2 when we were down in Dallas. Like the amount of times they were getting the puck and dusting it off and looking around and making sure, I do have a good scoring chance. Like that's just got to stop. They got to have a bit more sense of urgency. And I'll even say this in regards to the power play. They need a bit more controlled urgency. Sometimes it felt like, and again, they've never done this all year, but there's power plays now where they're just rifling pucks on net. Like they had the one, I remember the one in game 7 against Vancouver was the one they missed on, not the one they scored on. They had 7 shots. I've never seen the Oilers have 7 shots in one single power play. And it feels like they're maybe starting to feel the pressure a little bit of this cold snap. I think they need to keep up that sense of urgency. You obviously always want to be thinking, is this a good spot to shoot? Can I get a puck through here? How can I get this puck to a dangerous area? But don't just throw away an opportunity. So you're the best power play in the NHL. You're the best power play in NHL history when you go back to last season for a reason. Just go back to what you know works. You don't need to change it up because it's the playoffs. You don't need to change it up because it's the Dallas Stars. So there you go. Yep. Those are my keys to victory tonight for Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. I like that. I think we covered a lot of really, really solid ground there, boys. Good stuff.
Good ground coverage.
Yeah, well done, guys.
You're going to be in the building tonight, aren't you?
I am going to be in the building.
Hell,
maybe that's a factor.
Maybe.
Hopefully.
I'm wearing my Phase 1 Holloway jersey.
Correct. You are. All right. Let's get in.
Or should I get the Holloway? I should go check to see if I can get the Holloway put on today. Or is that too?
Or
maybe that's what's needed now.
Does the team need a spark? Is it Letetsu season?
So full disclosure, I was wearing that at home on game 3.
And they lost.
I put on my jersey and then Crawford wanted to put on her jersey. And I decided to put the Letestu on. I'm like, let's bring a little magic in. I didn't go to the Phase 1 Holloway.
Phase 1 Holloway might be
might be Phase 1 Holloway. But should I make it the Phase 2 officially? Should I check it out, see if I can?
Head down.
Or is that? But I don't know. Is that
no? That might be what we need as a spark.
Because it did lose last time it was worn. So maybe it does need it now needs to. It needs a lineup change.
Maybe I'll go back to my 2017 Leon Draisaitl jersey.
Yeah,
that'd be a pull.
I don't think I've worn it since 2017. It should still be fine.
Yeah,
I have not changed at all.
All right. Let's wrap.
Moose Jaw Warriors.
Oh,
staying alive.
How about them Warriors?
Staying alive. They got shelled, massively outshot, but they pulled off the W against Drummondville.
Yes,
Drummondville, and so that would automatically punch a ticket to the semis because Drummondville
hasn't won.
They haven't won yet.
So now this will actually be the first time in I think 4 or 5 years that a Q team hasn't won the Memorial Cup. So now you'll determines who you play tonight between London.
I hope I honestly, because they had a really good game against London and it was tight. Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. Shout out Western League. But I hope they play Saginaw in the semifinals because I know they whooped us in game 1, but the Warriors weren't ready for Mem Cup hockey, and I just take them and then slay down the OHL dragon that is the London Knights.
Luke Mayer is in. Changing subjects a bit. I'm rocking my Broberg World Juniors jersey tonight.
Yeah, love that energy. Let's go.
Good omen, Luke.
Yeah, let us know what jersey you're wearing.
Yeah, let us know. Which one are you going with tonight? Make it your lucky jersey.
Broberg World Juniors. What a random jersey.
Super weird. Let's wrap up the show with the Betway Game Day Betting Challenge. With Betway, you can get a free bet up to $200 if your first bet loses. Simply place a bet with no minimum amount required, and if that bet loses, you'll get a refund up to $200. You can then use that money to bet on your favorite sports. This offer only available outside of Ontario, and if you're outside of Ontario, here's what you need to do. To create a new account, scan the QR code on your screen and redeem your bonus. All right, gentlemen, we need a dub tonight, and we could all use a dub in the Betway Game Day Betting Challenge. So here's what we got tonight. You guys, whoa, Jay. Spicy. I didn't even see that come in the group chat.
Putting on my sunglasses right now, and I'm just sitting back.
A Darnell Nurse goal at plus, what would that be, plus 850?
650.
Oh, plus 650.
I'm putting my money where Darnell Nurse's mouth is.
All right.
And buying into the narrative that he is just regenerating for a massive performance. And we're calling for him to jump into the play more be the puck carrier that he is, which is going to put him in an offensive position more often than not that he has been this playoff series or in the whole playoffs entirely. So why not? He shows up, he scores. Like, can you just see the reaction of Darnell Nurse scoring? Can you not? I can visualize it, and just like the sense of relief, and also just not with him, but like everyone in the building.
It would be a Connor Brown moment.
The give him a raise tweet from Bag Milk will hit different.
Yeah.
There's what did I go with?
Money line.
Oilers win. That's all we need.
That's all we need. And I was initially Oilers in regulation. We were talking this. I sent Liam a little message on my phone here, and it said, "Change me to a Nurse goal."
All right. I'm going Oilers win. McDavid 2+ points. Hit it last game. This bet should have cashed last game. So I like the +165 price tag on that bad boy. I think Connor's going to have a big night. Connor McDavid, 6 shots on goal in Game 3 against the Dallas Stars, the most he's had in a playoff game so far this season. He is starting to shoot the puck more. That first period effort from McDavid looked about as close to vintage Connor McDavid as we've gotten so far in these playoffs. He was excellent. So 6 shots on goal last game. His over 3.5 pays +125 tonight. I don't hate that. I don't hate Connor McDavid in the anytime goal market. Tonight, I'm doing 2 things. I'm wagering on the Oilers to win. I am wagering on Connor McDavid having a vintage Connor McDavid performance.
Well, here's to hoping. 2 goals in 3 games for old McDavid. There's a lot of jerseys coming in the chat, Tyler.
Okay, give me a few of them.
So we've got Hemsky, his 2006 Hemsky jersey from
that's
Oily
so sick.
Accountant.
Yes, very oily.
Ben Gleason will be rocking his Heritage Classic Ben Gleason jersey.
Of course.
No way you actually own that.
Well, if he is Ben Gleason.
Yes, Levi is doing his Clef Bomb jersey. Another one here, Magic Meat Bag. Hemsky jersey. Gagne jersey from Dacky. Aaron is doing his Liam Reddick's jersey. And I just wanted to read this tweet from Doug Waite, which made me laugh. Doug Waite, this team is such a joke. Immediately after, Yanni Niedema.
All right.
There you go.
Fair enough. Shout out to our friends at Betway. Anyone you guys like on the anytime goal market today? I mean, I know you like Nurse. I kind of like Dylan Holloway along with Connor McDavid.
Yeah, he's due.
Liam, give us one. Come on.
Holloway. Hyman goal.
Power play.
Shaq
goal.
Hyman, the human backboard, going to the side of the net and letting Connor just bank it off him. That was a good one.
The Gator is doing in the Moss Pit tonight.
Oh, hell yeah. Gator. Jason
That's
Smith,
good.
let's go. All right, let's wrap. I had something else I want to get to. Oh, on Darnell Nurse. I would love for him, first 2 shifts of the game, and I know Demers kind of talked about it, go smoke someone or get into a fight and fire up the crowd. Do something early and get the crowd kind of on your side. And I know, again, Oilers fans in the building are going to support the guy. He's not getting booed or anything tonight or anything insane like that, as much as we're hard on him here. When you're in the barn and you got the jersey on, you support your guys no matter what. But I'd like to see him go out there and just nail someone and run around a little bit on that first shift. Do a little something. Get the juices flowing. I think that'd be good. I'd love to see him drop the mitts with someone, beat the hell out of him, and then give the crowd like a big fire up as he goes to the box. That'd be great.
Cordial hat trick. Darnell Nurse.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? All right, gentlemen. That is a wrap on a Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day edition of the show. That breakdown from Carter Hutt was exceptional, by the way.
Yeah.
That little
he's great.
look. Hutt's is a beauty.
The goalie insight is good because none of us really know what goes on there.
No, and we kind of pretend to know everything else, but goaltending we can't.
As a head scout, I probably shouldn't say that.
Well, and Demers was kind of like, not like good goal by Robertson, not as much of a mistake by Skinner. But then Carter's like, no, mistake on Skinner.
Yeah, that was interesting.
2 different defenseman brain, goalie brain.
Yeah. I guess, and actually in that case, it was kind of Demers being a little harder on the D-men as well in that case. Philip Broberg, Corey Perry, Ryan McLeod, all in the lineup tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. Our boy Aaron Bordato is going to be going live at 5:30 with pre-gaming tonight. So giddy up. He'll have more on the lineup changes. He'll give you his thoughts on what he expects to see out of the Oil tonight. And also, we don't know what the line combos are, gentlemen.
Okay, I'm going to predict them.
All right. Actually, that is a good point. I'm just looking at my sheet here. The last thing we needed to do was our Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day question, which is predict the forward lines for this evening, Liam. What are they going to be?
Okay, top 6 is the same.
Okay.
And then you're going to go McLeod, Henrique, Brown.
McLeod, Henrique, Brown. Okay.
Yaremchuk, Ryan. Perry. And then my D pairings will be Ekholm, Bush,
Yeah.
Nurse and Kulak, Broberg, Ceci, Stu, Pickard,
Jay.
Matt Berlin.
Matt Berlin is
Matt
the
Berlin.
third.
Emergency.
Shout out Sherwood Park
Um,
Crusaders.
I
Yes.
guess if I have to take a different approach, everything Liam just said, except for Perry in the Brown slot and Brown on the fourth line.
I'm not moving Brown off the third line. He's
I
playing
think
too good.
I think
Hey,
Brown might
I'm
have
just saying.
earned it.
Okay.
Do you know what might be crazy and is crazy? What if they put Kane on the third line with Henrique and Brown, which has had moments this year that's done well, and then you have McLeod, Dry, Holloway, and just have maximum speed next to Dry. I don't hate it. I don't think they'll do that, but it'd be an interesting experiment. But then I guess it was that message was that sent to Kane, who's played pretty well.
I was just gonna say
yeah.
no.
But I just think that line is good work.
Here's why I wouldn't move Perry away. Both Janmark and Ryan are puck possession cycle kind of guys. And I think what caused Perry to really struggle early in these playoffs is that you were playing him with speed and he doesn't fit in with speed. McLeod and Fogle weren't two guys who do really, really well off the cycle. And maybe you could say a McLeod-Henrique duo is going to be better, but I want to get Perry on a line with guys who like to cycle the puck and grind it out down low. Put him with guys he's going to be more comfortable with. Don't do the square peg round hole on your third line. Speed. Henrique will give you that defensive conscience. McLeod can rip up and down the wings. Connor Brown can rip up and down the wings. He's shown he can make plays as well. Made a great pass on that Adam Henrique goal. So I'd go speed, and then I'd go grind line and pick your matchups based off that. So giddy up. That's what I'd do. Again, Aaron will have more on that with pre-gaming tonight, 5:30 right here on the Oilers Nation YouTube, and Oilers Nation After Dark features that guy.
Me.
It is you, Liam. It is you. Liam and Aaron will break everything down following the final buzzer when hopefully this series is tied up at 2, I believe.
When this series is tied up at
There
2,
you go.
and we're going on the road to Dallas where they suck.
What if they go crazier tonight? And what if they just go Dry, McDavid, Hyman, Ekholm, Bouchard for 40 minutes again?
They might.
They really might. And what if they do what they did in game 2 against Vancouver?
Play them for 40 minutes?
That's what they did against Vancouver. Those guys played
Close
like
to it.
35
They all
minutes.
played like 30 minutes. 30 minutes. You mean
Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
paper ball.
Wow. Either way, they
Well.
played more than pretty much the entire game.
I think
They
from
did play
I think on the
quite well.
defensive side, you got to elevate Ekholm Bush's pairing a little bit. Those guys, I don't know.
I don't like it, but I would not be shocked.
Got to get I guess we got to see how the game's going, right?
Yeah.
Like if everything's working right, we're rolling our 4 lines.
And that too, I think early on, you definitely want to get everyone involved in the game, especially Perry and McLeod. You want to give them 3 shifts in the first 10 minutes and just give them a chance to succeed.
Give them a chance.
Yep.
Get them a chance.
Let them get comfortable. I think that's going to be really important for Knoblauch to do in this one. All right, Oilers Stars 6:30 tonight, game 4. That'll be a wrap on today's Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day edition of the show, right in the heart of Sherwood Park. Gentlemen, that is a wrap. Enjoy the game tonight, everybody. We'll chat again tomorrow.
Thank you for watching Oilers Nation Every Day. Hit the subscribe button to never miss a show. And for more, visit OilersNation.com.